Let me know that you're here. I see Sell Estate Priority Sheila. You're always here. Olivier, nice to see you as well too. I see so many other people popping into the room. In today's video, we're going to break down my exact schedule and what I do consistently in order to stay as an industry leader in real estate, which is a very, very competitive industry. The cool thing about the way I've structured this segment is it applies to anybody, whether you're a rookie or you're running a massive organization. The principles still apply, but the scale of the principles just change depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So do you ever feel like you're not progressing in your business because you're just so busy putting out fires? Do you ever feel like you're falling forward in your days? A lot of times that's because you are just responding to things that are happening in your day rather than taking control of your day in general and what you want to accomplish and staying ahead of the curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually break down what my goals are for the next 24 months. And I'm going to break down how I actually map that out in my schedule and then how I implement that and then review it. And again, you can do this yourself. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to give you some resources where I'm going to send you some actual PDFs after to compound what I'm teaching you today. So let's talk about the actual daily schedule that I try to stick to in order to get 3 days productivity out of 1 day's work. So typically what I need to do in a day are 3 things. I need to find business, I need to work on my business, and I need to do the things that I promised people I would do. That's it. If you're in any type of sales and marketing, that's what you need to do. Finding business is prospecting. Keeper time is working on your business. So that can be working on your SOP, your operations manual, and then doing time is actually doing the things that you promised your customers you would do. Tell me if you're a salesperson, if you don't do what you promised somebody you would do, if they're ever going to work with you again, right? And if you can never have another client for the rest of your life and your entire database is based on your past clients, how much would that change how you treat the people that you're actually working with and prospecting? A lot of people, and it doesn't matter if it's car sales, real estate, or anything else, they love that bright, shiny object, that new lead, that new technology, yet they don't follow up with the people that they've already met, which absolutely blows my mind. So what I typically do is the night before, I actually map out my next day. The most powerful thing that I can do is take 15 minutes at night. I like to do it about an hour before I go to bed. So call it like 8:45. And I like to sit down and just dump everything in my brain on paper and compartmentalize how did the day go? What are the urgent things and fires that I need to put out and really, really deal with? And what do I actually want to accomplish today? A lot of times the what do I actually want to accomplish today goes back to my core goals, which I will go over in this segment, but I map out what the key components are and the 6 massive things I have to do in the next day. So it's in my actual schedule. Then the day actually starts. So this structure, take it for what you will, build it how you want in your own life. But what I need to do to be successful in my business is I need to wake up early, ahead of the game. I need to not touch my phone. I would say not touching your phone is probably one of the best habits that you can build. Put it in another room, put it in another place, go somewhere and spend some time in just being quiet and in your thoughts. I call it my faith time, right? I'm a Christian, so I sit down and I read my Bible. What I typically do is I write down a verse, I meditate on that verse, and I really just spend time in quiet. And I find that makes all the difference in the world because, again, rather than checking my Instagram and seeing how many likes I have and how many messages I have, or going to my Twitter or going to my TikTok or going to my Facebook, it changes the entire dynamic of how I'm approaching my day. I love sitting in gratitude. I love thinking about the things that I am grateful for, despite whatever challenges I may have. Sitting in some type of gratitude makes all the difference in terms of how you approach things. Your day can be amazing or terrible. In both instances, you are right. A lot of it has to do with your framework and how you're actually looking at it. And one tip I'll give you is be grateful for the bad things that happen in your life. I can tell you the amount of times I've prayed and been grateful for things that maybe the world would tell me were really bad things, people taking advantage of me, things not going the right way, whatever it may be. The more you pour into those things, the more release you actually have from those things. Second thing I need to do is I need to move it or lose it. This is probably the first time anybody's seen this angle of my studio. I upgraded my Mac Ventura and now the EOS Cam app isn't working. Doesn't really matter. I still wanted to get this segment out. So I'm streaming on my laptop. You see behind me my squat rack. You see my TV and kind of everything. What I always want to do is think about my energy systems when you move. And you can write these down if you want, or I'll send them in the document after. You need to think about your cardiovascular system. So that's your heart health and steady state cardio and your ability to endure and do things for a long period of time. You need to think about your strength and conditioning. That's everybody going to the gym, getting really, really strong, right? The hypertrophy, growing muscle and whatnot. You need to think about your mobility, so your movement quality. And you also need to think about your explosiveness. These are the different power systems that you have, and you actually need to work the different power systems in order to maintain them. Now, you need to think about what type of life do you want to live? Do you want to be a power lifter and explosiveness matters so much to you? Do you want to be an endurance runner? Do you want to run a triathlon? Because you're going to look at the different power systems and adjust based on your goals at that time. So think of your power systems as 5 different cups and you only have a liter of water. The human body is amazing what it can actually do if you pour that full liter into 1 cup. But keep in mind that a lot of times if you pour it all into explosiveness, then you're actually going to bang your body up pretty bad, and your mobility and your general movement flexibility is really going to suffer. So for me, in the state that I'm in right now, I am rebuilding my body. So to a big extent, mobility and stretching is probably more important than a lot of the other things. I would say mobility, stretching, and cardiovascular health are the 2 most important things I could be working on right now. In about 6 weeks, I'll probably change that and move into some more strength and conditioning. After I'm done my movement, the next segment is a mind sweep. So I already told you I did a mind sweep the night before. It took about 15 minutes. What I typically do the morning of is I restructure that mind sweep. So I look at my digital brains, which I've covered in other segments, and I look at, is there anything I missed, right? Like what's happening in all of the organizations? What do I need to be aware of? And I just put it somewhere. Typically, I put it on my Remarkable notepad, and then I map it out on the calendar. What you can do, and I'll just give you a quick tip here. You can look at one of my other videos for a more in-depth analysis of this, is 3 categories. Urgent, that means the house is burning down, absolutely has to get done today, this week, and someday. If you have those 3 categories, anything that's in your life will fall into one of those 3 categories. The someday category I'll review every 60 to 90 days, and you'll be shocked how often things that are in that category, if I haven't done them or haven't moved them to this week or urgent, they don't really matter to me, right? And they're not taking up space in my brain, which is, I think, is absolutely crucial. The next thing that I do is communications. So what I do, and it took me a while to figure this hack out, is I actually have a folder called comms in my bookmarks in Chrome. And what I did was I put every single communication method in that folder. So my Facebook Messenger, my WhatsApp group chat, my Slack communication, everything I could think of. And what I do from typically 7:30 to 8 o'clock every day is I right click that folder and I click open all. It opens up all my tabs and I blast through my communication. I love seeing people who say they don't have time to respond to Instagram comments and Clubhouse comments and so on and so forth, because I know people that operate at a very, very high scale, people like Ryan Serhant, people like Gary Vee, that I promise you have more followers than you, and they're still able to follow up with people at scale because they have a system. So that's my system, is I hit all my comms, I make sure everybody's been responded to and in a timely manner, so that I can compartmentalize what I'm doing. What that does is it prevents me from checking my phone all day. So I check my comms for 30 minutes in the morning. I check my comms typically about 15 minutes while I'm having lunch, and then end of the day. If it's urgent, all of my clients know, text me directly. My team members as well. If it's something that needs addressing right now, they have the bat phone or they have one of my assistant's numbers and it will get addressed. Everything else does not need to be refreshed and responded to all day, every day. So I said at the beginning of the video, do you feel overwhelmed and falling forward? If you can fix the comms portion of your life, I promise you, it'll probably get rid of 60% of that feeling of always being in this reactive responsive mode. Because think about it. How many times have you been in the middle of your day, you're crushing something, maybe you're shooting a piece of content, and then all of a sudden you get an email on a file that's going sideways and it seems like the worst thing ever, right? The funny thing about business is the worst thing ever to you today is a nothing burger in 10 years. It's just because it's happening to you for the first time today that it completely compromises you. So I would take a hard pause and I would say just structure your communications time. Super, super important. The next thing that I do is I learn. Every single day, learning to me is one of the most important things. Now, I do think about my goals, which I'll share with you in a minute, and what I'm learning. So whether it's real estate marketing, sales, building a team and a business, YouTube, I make sure that I do structured learning. I'm not just clicking on random videos online. I'm probably taking a course. Maybe I'm part of a community, but I'm working towards a goal and just putting dollars in that meter every single day, because it's the compounding interest that really creates success. right? No different than the mind sweeping, the communications time, the learning time. Do something average with above average consistency, and it will blow your mind how much you can actually grow. So I learned something, then I actually jump into my delegation and team time. So typically 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And again, if you're a solo agent, just make this date with yourself. If you have a team of 5 or 10 people around you, just make some time with them. We jump into role playing, right? Role playing. Even at the level that we work at, we sit down and about 30 minutes every day, we table different conversations. Why is that important? Because the market is shifting. And if Kim Walsh Phillips is calling me to sell her house, she wants the best. She wants somebody that understands that buyers see that interest rates are going up dramatically. They're terrified. Do I buy now? Do I wait? When's the bottom? We practice these conversations, and we've already learned and educated ourselves as to what's happening in the market. So we really do keep ourselves ahead of the pack in terms of how to communicate with people, because we're doing it every day, right? I take my job seriously. I look at it no differently than if I was shooting baskets or I was trying to be Michael Jordan. I practice my craft every single day. Then the delegation time is, again, if you're a solo agent, understand that delegate to yourself. But we sit down and look at what are all the things we're working on today? What is a Justin thing to do? What is a something else person to do? And then we put that ball in their hands, and then we have a system to actually track it. I have done videos on productivity hacks and systems. I'll mention a couple of them at the end of this video on this channel, but we use systems to track things so it's not taking up space in my brain. No different than the mind sweeping portion of it. Then another really, really important thing to do is, after I'm done my delegation time, most important thing that you have to do if you're in any type of sales and marketing is your finder time, your prospecting time. So we spent years building our CRM to a place where it probably only takes me 30 minutes to do what used to take me 2 hours. But I go into my database and I work my database. I look at whose birthdays it is. I look at any new leads that came in. Have they been touched? I look at anybody that's a hot prospect that needs information. They need value from me every week. Am I delivering that value to them? I look at people that are in my database that maybe are 3+ months out, and I make sure that we're interacting with them. I look at my past clients and my sphere of influence. I look at people like Ramon Ray, who's actually live on the chat right now, one of my favorite people. And I make sure that I'm talking to Ramon Ray quarterly, right? I work my database to keep it clean, because my database is my business. I did an interview on the Prime People podcast with Buck Wise, who used to sell actually marketing companies. Have worked with Grant Cardone, very, very, very fascinating guy. And he talked ad nauseum about how, they would be approached to acquire multi-million-dollar companies, and then they'd go on the database and they would realize that the database was dirty data and that the database was actually worthless. So companies that thought that they were going to sell for multi-million-dollars ended up selling for virtually nothing, which is an issue. Right. So just understand that your database and how you clean your database is super, super important. I also dropped a link on the YouTube channel to the Prime People podcast, just so that you guys can all go and watch that episode with Buck Wise. Super, super smart guy. Actually met him through the Sirhan Network. He's an absolute beast. Next thing I do after my prospecting time is my keeper time. And that's typically working on an SOP. So again, if you're brand new, here's a challenge for you. Open up a document and call it whatever your name is, operations manual, and then start with one system. How do you do what you do? It could be checking your emails. What are the decision matrices around how you handle your emails? Spam comes in, unsubscribe. That's a line in your operations manual. Lead comes in. How do you follow up with that lead? Where does it go? Who does the things? You get an invoice. How does that invoice get handled? Everything should go in your operations manual. And I promise you, if you work on your operations manual 30 minutes a day, it'll make all the difference in the world. The next super important thing for me is my creation time. I am a content creator. We built our entire business on the back of content creation. I, again, didn't reinvent the wheel. I looked at what Gary Vee was doing. He was doing Daily V. So I started The Closers Daily. Nobody even really knows that we used to be called The Closers. I actually own that trademark. Very tongue in cheek. But for me, it was something that I was like, man, I don't have a lot of money, but I have a lot of time. So how can I go out and get more business? And I just started shooting videos every single day, educating people on contracts. Like, fun fact, in Canada, did you know that if you do a purchase of an investment property and that seller is a non-Canadian resident and they flee the country, the capital gains that they were going to pay, you're going to actually have to pay. So understanding if the person selling the property is a resident or not is super, super crucial. sharing a little fun fact and a tip like that made all the difference in the world in creating relationship and value for my community, which in turn made the phone ring like absolutely crazy. So what I do now from a creation standpoint is to make sure I'm creating content and distributing it daily to map to my actual goals, which I'll break down for you in a second. Then I have a community time at lunch. So I actually take my Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups, whatever groups I think I need to be interacting with on a regular basis, create a folder in my Chrome, right click that, open it up, and I just browse through my groups. Now, understand I'm not insane about this. I'm just creating a system so that even if I only do this system 70% of the time, I'm better than 90% of the world. But it's just being thoughtful about where I'm deploying my energy. So community and engagement really matters to me. Supporting people that support me, super important. I would even say putting in 2 coins in the meter for every 1 coin you pull out is super, super important. Meaning, if I go on Instagram and post, I should be interacting with 10 accounts at the same time. I should be going through my story bubbles, talking to my friends, creating engagement and creating community, because that's going to be more powerful than me sharing everything that I want to share. I promise you that's how I built my community and continue to do so every day. Then I kind of get into some fun stuff. Family stuff for me near the end of the day is making sure that I connect, making sure that I'm kind, making sure I'm in prayer, doing a nighttime routine. Right now I'm really focused on nutrition and then tracking my actual nutrition. So I have that all mapped out and I'm like, here are the key components of what I have to do in a day. The cool thing is it really floats, right? I'm working on some new development projects right now. So maybe part of my prospecting time is really focused on how do we move the needle on this project? I have that time block already in my day, so I can focus that laser beam on whatever my client's needs are at the time, but I don't have to think about what my daily structure is. I know if I wake up, I spend time in prayer, I move my body, I spend time, mind sweeping, communicating, delegating, finding, keeping, doing, I'm accomplishing more than I'd say 95% of the planet because of that consistency over time. The things that you plug into all those can be different for every single person. And I'm going to break down how I map that out and how I actually have built this for myself. So here's another challenge for you. I can't take credit for this. I'll give it for Ryan Serant. He's got an amazing course, Business in a Box, that I'm actually doing right now. And he has a 60-second game. He said, write down in 60 seconds what you want to do in 24 months. I want to be closer to God. I want to be closer to my wife and daughter. I want to travel the States. I want to do speaking, fishing, taking pictures, eating amazing food, creating content, having Prime, my company, recruit, train, and retain top talent, have very clear branding guidelines, better communication with my wife, have better standards with my team, communication with my team, double personal production, double team production, double referrals sent, referrals received, double online YouTube leads, and 1 full month of traveling. So because I mapped that all out, now what I can do is I can look at the structure of my day and I can look at my goals and I can say, am I aligning those 2 things so that they're in synchronicity, right? Because ask yourself this question. You have ambitions, you have actions, but are you tracking your actions to see if they map to your ambitions? Because quite often our actions don't match our ambitions, which is fine. You just need to change your ambitions or you need to change your actions. So how do I do that from a overarching perspective? I look at the 5 categories that matter to me. I look at my faith, I look at my family, I look at my fitness, I look at my fun, and I look at my finances. Finances is last. We live in a world that lied to you. They told you need to just hustle and grind and everything needs to go into your finances. It does not. The biggest misconception about me is all of this structure and rigidity is overwhelming. This structure and rigidity creates absolute freedom because I look really busy online. People think I have no time. I'm the least busy guy you've ever met because I've created systems to manage everything that I'm doing. And I'm very clear on what I'm trying to accomplish. So I take my goals and then I break down the faith portion. Say, what do I want to accomplish in a year? I probably want to do something earth shattering, like a pilgrimage to Israel, like a big trip that would really move my faith forward. What do I want to do quarterly? I want to review my goals. What do I want to do monthly? Some type of quiet retreat with my family or my church community. What do I want to do weekly? I probably want to do a Bible study, probably want to do some church, daily prayer 2 times a day, and connect with God throughout the daytime and just make sure that I'm being that light in the world that really, really matters, right? What I got to do with my family yearly. I got to do a mega trip with my family. It is a undeniable thing that has to happen. Quarterly, probably, 5 to 7 day trips quarterly every 120 days. Once a month, probably a 3-day weekend. Doesn't have to be anything crazy. We can hop in the RV, go have some fun. Weekly, something that scares us, go to a mountain climbing place or go for a hike or go somewhere we've never been before. And daily, be kind and connect. Fitness, what matters to me right now? I'm rebuilding. my nutrition, my cardio, strength and conditioning, mobility. I already talked about that. Yearly, probably have to challenge my body and see kind of where I'm at. Quarterly, I want to test one of my power systems and review my goals. What do I want to do monthly? I don't know. I didn't actually write that down, but I'll tell you what I want to do weekly. 5 strength and conditioning sessions once I'm at the point where I can move my body. 3 cardio sessions, 2 FRC sessions, which is boring work. It is moving your joints, functional range conditioning, but very important to me right now. And I want to track my food 6 days a week, right? I'm not necessarily going to hit this every single day. So this structure does not need to be rigid to the point where if I don't do it, oh my gosh, I failed. But even if I'm hitting it 70% of the time, I'm better than 90% of the world. What do I want to do from a fun perspective? I want to travel. I want to do photography. I want to fly fish. I want to bow hunt. Yearly, I want to go on a mega trip. I want to review my goals quarterly. I want to do 3-day weekends adventure. I want to snap pictures. I want to fish. I want to shoot my bow 3 times a week. Daily, I want to create content. I love photography. I love it. I'm not doing it enough. It's a goal of mine to do it more proactively. Cool thing about this is if you look at my fun and you look at my family, they stack, right? My fun yearly mega trip. I love fly fishing. My daughter likes really fishing. My wife likes being taken care of and eating really good food and traveling to awesome places. I'm going to stack those two so that I'm not doing 2 separate things. I'm going to integrate my life. I want to do more speaking. Guess what? My mega trips and a lot of my trips are going to be built around collaborations and speaking engagements and other things that I've been offered before that I haven't been able to take advantage of. But knowing what my goals are, I'm going to see opportunities where I didn't see them before. The last piece, finances. Very simple. I want to double my personal production, double lead intake, double referrals sent. That stacks with my fun. I love creating content. I'm doing it right now. If you're out there and you're looking for a real estate agent anywhere on the planet, call me. McGillivray. I'm one of the McGillivray ambassadors for North America. I'm also one of the Serhant ambassadors, one out of 12,000 plus people globally. There's only 7 of us. I have a direct line to Ryan Serhant if you want to work with him in New York City. I work with the Ferry organization. I'm super, super tapped in, and I will vet the person that I'm actually sending you. I've got multiple referrals that I've dealt with through Clubhouse. A couple people recently had a 14-unit portfolio in UK, another one in the States. I'm doing it actively and I'm integrating my life because I know what my goals are. My YouTube channel, I'm doing it right now, putting out content consistently because I know what my end game is. So my real goal with this segment is to make you do what I just did for yourself. I really want you this weekend to sit down and I really want you to start mapping out what matters to you in your life and how you need to approach your day consistently over time so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Because I was that person. I was the person that was falling forward every single day. Fires were happening left, right, and center. I was trying to make everybody happy and I was making nobody happy. And I was just spinning my wheels. It wasn't until I started searching for this information and really reflecting on my own goals and talking to my wife and having difficult conversations to realize what we wanted to accomplish as a community and then map it out so I can do something consistently over time to achieve something that I never thought was achievable. I'm not a person who ever thought I'd be in the position that I am today. I'm very, very grateful. I'm more of a product of the people and processes around me than I am of my own volition. We give all glory to God in terms of what he's given us in our life. But at the same time, you need to activate it, right? Nobody's going to give it to you. You have to work for it. The work is the most satisfying thing on the planet. It gives you absolute purpose. But what is your purpose? What are you trying to achieve? Jump in the comments and let me know. Last but not least, I told you that I'd give you some resources in terms of what I've built over the years to provide some guidance into tools I've used. So if you go to justinconoco.com/resources, I'll drop the link on Clubhouse in a second as well. What I've put there is compiled PDFs around a lot of what I've taught you today. My mind sweeping, my time blocking. I actually have my old daily productivity sheet that I built that I used every single day to kind of map out the things that I was mapping out today. I've introduced you to some incredible people. And then actually below there are tools that I'm using to create freedom. So if you have any specific videos you want covered, I am here for you. That's literally what this channel is for. This video was actually created because one of the Prime Nation asked me to do it. I have another video coming next week, but if you want to get your video in queue, just jump in the comments, send me a DM. I am very, very easy to find. Appreciate you being here more than you know, and go get after it and unlock your dreams. I want to know what they are. Take care for now.